You're rocking with your boy. You know what time it is. All rights reserved. We're about to get into it. Now, I wanted to quickly say no worries to commenter Annie Morris, as well as Lisa R. Now, Lisa R had put it out there, a commenter several videos ago on one of my Tentacion videos to actually look into the mother. And I had overlooked that, and I want to apologize to her for overlooking it, but I also want to say that we're actually going to take a quick turn because as of today, I had set out a video and I said the third person did not look like the guy they arrested who was already locked up, named Micheal Boatwright. And now his legal team has made a big move by actually backing up that claim and asking for the information and evidence they have even linking his name to this crime. Now, this is going to switch around to what I told you, that if you can prove your innocence, looking your accusers in the eye, he could go for a case of defamation, actually, because what's going on is that he's being implicated in a murder. And when you're implicated in something so large and your name's also placed in something and you actually didn't commit the crime, you can now get justice for your name even being mentioned in a scenario of that sort. This is a very important thing, being that his face was put out there publicly and they did all of this to him. So the best suit would be for him to legally get the evidence, his lawyers to fight it off and maybe even countersue in his situation. And this may even take him out of the previous situation he was dealing with. I'm actually going to go with something that was sent to me by commenters Shauna Gillette, I hope I said that right, and Rita Leticia to Valente. Miss Valente actually put a link and I watched the video. This video I've seen, but this one showed clarity of the back seat. And they even dropped the name of the person in the back seat, which I cannot confirm or deny, so I will not put it out there. But you could look for those names in the comments on whatever video I have, or if they decide to go on my new video and comment again, they could show you exactly who. This is huge because what it shows is the three people that's there. Two of them, one's already in custody, okay? And the other one is a large manhunt for it. This third person hasn't been mentioned or even interrogated in the case. And that's a big break for them. But our conversation right now is going to be, is Micheal Boatwright innocent? So what made them link him to this case if there's no video or there's no physical evidence there? Could it have been they mistake him for the person that was in the back seat? Could it be they mistaked him for someone else that he actually wasn't? Now, I think his lawyers are making a good move requesting the evidence. I don't think they can get the witnesses or testimonies as much as they are deserving on what crucial evidence is there against to link him to the scene if he was not there. And that's up to his lawyer to prove. And there's many ways you can go about doing that. One of the main ways you can go about disproving you're there is showing you were somewhere else. That's the easiest way. A receipt or some type of film that proves the point that as who you are, you were not present at that scene. And honestly, if you can't really go through and prove something of that nature with any evidence you have left over, reasonable doubt is your next step. You have to present reasonable doubt for the situation. The fact that they missed crucial evidence that revealed who was actually there. These are all typical things that occur, that someone looks like someone, so they rush the evidence and rush him into interrogation. And again, if he didn't verbally give anything that could be damning against him in this situation, even if he wasn't present at the site, he does have grounds to fight this. That's very important, being the numbers they're looking to give you. All these things are going to be relevant to your case. Again, shout to those commenters. And, respectfully, I'm going to sit back and get more evidence. If I could, from the commenters, if they could drop Tentacion's mom's name there so I could actually see her relevance in this situation. Now, what I want to know is, who was beside Tentacion? Who was beside him? Why haven't investigators released that? Or why isn't that person even being, let's say, put to any sort of questioning? Who was beside him? How come we don't know that? Why is that something that's so private that we don't get it? And what's the witness's name? What's his name? I mean, if you're going to have a witness explain a case, you would think you would give his name, let alone the name of the individual that was sitting beside him in the car when he was murdered. A lot of things aren't adding up. What we're going to be talking about in a little while is what's up with the will? How come I didn't hear anything about a will, anything that was disclosing what's going to happen with the financial distribution and to whom it goes? Where does that lead? That's a very important factor. People are like, oh, why do you need to know the money? And they're haters, so I'm not going to drop their name. Let me explain to you why the money's important. This young man was a very talented individual that worked his whole life with his talent. Go back and look at his life. See, I don't think you guys actually looked at his life, how he fought his way up. I mean, he was in and out of trouble, left and right, defending himself, being attacked by people, and he made it through the ranks to be noted for something much greater than the credit he was given initially. When you have a person that's given massive credit and they earned it from the bottom, you can't really take that from him. You can't really judge him for that. Same thing with Micheal Boatwright. If he has nothing to do with this case, we can't make judgment off of it. Now, I have a few YouTubers out there I saw were actually putting up disses and talking bad about him. We don't know if he was involved. Like I told you, I did a very thorough investigation with the evidence that's presented, and I don't see any relative link between him and his overall presence in this situation. I see no video. I don't even see him in all photos posing with the entire gang that we seen these other guys who are being pursued with. I don't see how he fits into this situation. And I don't know if he sees how he fits into the situation. Again, I have evidence I haven't even released because, like I said, it's not just commenters. I have many different people working behind the scenes linking up with me. And it's because of how I present this. It's because I actually do know what I'm talking about. I actually have studied law. I can run you through all your amendments up and down, to the left, to the right, and I can describe why. Now, I just wanted to take a quick moment and speak because people said in one of the other cases, the recent guy that was shot in the back, how is it the Fourth Amendment? Listen, your Fourth Amendment rights do not get violated until you're a parolee. When you go on parole, yes, you lose a couple amendments. Most people don't know that, and that's a fact. But if you aren't on parole, even if you get off parole, you restore that. You get your amendments back. So in that case, yes, they have to respect the amendments. Imagine this. Let's switch races. Say it was a black cop running down on a Caucasian man, and he thought he was doing something. If he grabbed him by the arm, this guy jerked away and started running, and he just shot him down in the back, I can already presume the comments that would be going down, like, oh, this cop's a thug, he's this, he's that. I've seen it. There's many other stories I've done where that was the take on it. What you got to do is you got to look at how it's presented. Then you got to switch the narrative. Most people can't switch the narrative. That's why their perspective's solely. My perspective's never solely. This is a channel of objection. I objectively look at the information and I deliver the facts. The fact of the matter is, again, 2 weeks after Tentacion, his cousin and the mother's niece is deceased. Now, there's some weird commenters that seem like they're dropping jewels, but at the same time, it could be misinformation. So again, all of you guys that were saying things, I'm going to thoroughly research what you said, including people that had other things to say on the other video. But as far as the video goes about the individual that was shot in his back, yes, you cannot make unlawful contact with anyone without probable cause. That is not only justification to lose your badge, But you need a hair test. There needs to start being hair tests for these officers that do that. Why was she so aggressive? Number one. Why was she walking at him so fast? Number two. What was the motive? Did she know this person? Look at the other officers in the situation. None of them approached it that way. She was the only one walking at him. And this is synonymous with female officers. I could pull up like 3 more stories where female officers were approaching a male so aggressive, so outlandish, that it caused drama. Yes, that was the situation. And if we want to run through amendments, I could show you amendments that gave her no right to even touch him without knowing something was going on. I could, like right now, if I ran down on someone and grabbed their arm, like, what are you doing? Because I thought they were doing something illegal. If I had those rights, I have that right without seeing what's going on. I could just do that. Sometimes people rush to the outcome without looking at the cause. Once again, if you can't look at the cause, don't look at the outcome, don't look at the story. It's a process to how things work. Same way to booking people, same way to putting cuffs on people. It's a process. And if you violate probable cause, you violated your whole process. Probable cause is everything. It's how you made initiating contact. But this one led to this man's death. If his family's smart, they're going to sue. Same thing for Micheal Boatwright. If his family's smart, they're going to sue. You have no justification to put a person's name, information, their picture out there, and you have no proof that they committed a crime. People forget, when it seems like when the narrative changes and there's other races getting put out versus a black man's face, they want to think logically. And that's what I'm saying. I could show you so many comments. I have over 300 comments that are just to that effect, that prove the prejudice of people's minds in America. Because there's so much freedom, people can't wrap their head around objectivity and fairness unless they can relate to the person in the story. That's sick. That's literally a sick mind. And that's the people that need locked up, because that is why people die. That's why people get shot in the back. That's why many of the issues occur, even involving authorities, because they don't have an objective mind. They're looking for someone synonymous with another criminal or crook they seen, instead of looking at the circumstance and the situation. That is the biggest mistake that America ever made, allowing that type of person into power. You don't give power to someone off of how they look, who they know, even though knowing and networking is a huge part of success in America. If someone's sick in the head, doesn't matter what race they are, they're sick. If you got gangbangers, listen, there are gangbangers of all nationalities. So you're telling me if there was a Caucasian gangbanger, which I can show you some, there's been many stories, he gets treated differently than someone else who runs down and just shoots people? What kind of sense does that make? There's no sense to the logic that I'm getting. But that's my issue. If you can't be objective with it, don't be with it at all. We're looking at circumstance. We're not looking at the race of who was in, what they did in the past, who they could have been, what were they doing now, what caused the issue then, and not just the outcome. What did authority do to prevent or escalate the outcome? Do you guys know what protect and serve means? Go look up the definition of protect and go look up the definition of serve. You're a servant to the community. You're no judge of the community. I'm not to judge someone and then press them. If we were working it that way, do you know how violent society would be? No one's a judge. And again, I've already proved who goes to work with chips on their shoulder. I proved these things. Now we're talking objectively about issues that are affecting the situation. Is Micheal Boatwright innocent? Did he get his rights violated before he had a chance to prove his innocence? Before his picture was thrown out and he was presumed in the case? Listen, his law team would not be asking for the evidence if they didn't have any objective disagreement with what was pressed upon him. And they do have to deliver it, not witness names. But we'll see how that goes. All rights reserved.